व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। So, a lot of things I wanted to share. Like Hariji was saying, we had some initial brainstorming sessions, and I said, we need to create a place where we can begin to, I think, I like to say we're all legally Indian, geographically Indian, but I think we're not yet culturally Indian. I mean, we export the culture, we market the culture, but I don't think we are actually living the culture. So this is something I experienced. I was in US for 15 years, and interestingly rediscovered Indian culture in America. In fact, I was studying my master's in the University of Arizona, and they have a very big library, and there was a huge section devoted to Swami Vivekananda. And so my whole journey started with Swami Vivekananda when I was still in 5th grade. But then for a long time, I read everything under the sun, but then I realized that the books were giving me a lot of theory but no experience. So I reached a point where I could give do a day-long workshop on meditation but have no meditation experience. Couldn't even meditate for half a minute, so to say. So I realized most knowledge is of that type in modern day, where you can regurgitate what you have read, but you don't have direct experience of anything. So in 2008, I said I reached the end of my human intelligence and need higher divine guidance. And so I was making a trip to India, and I was 100% sure that this time I'm going to find the person who's going to lead me to light. And that happened in July of 2008. So once the experience happens, once the Shaktipat happens, the debate stops. Before you had the experience, we would sit up all night, and people from India and my American friends, and then we would have visiting scholars from Germany and Austria, and everything, sitting and debating all night. Is there free will? Is there a higher power? What is running the world and everything? But it was all theoretical. So once you have the direct experience, all the debate stops, right? You have a direct experience. So then I thought, when I started looking at, what do we have as our heritage in India? Even in pre-university college, I remember one of the lecturers asked a question: was British rule good for India or bad for India? And we had like 120 students in the class. And I was the only one who said it was bad. And then I turned around and said everybody was saying it was good. I was shocked. Like, how is that? And then people were saying, oh, they gave us the post office, they gave us the railways, they gave us this and that. And I just couldn't understand, where this idea was coming from. So from 2008 to, let's say, to today, having attended probably 150 or 200 sadhana shivers, which would run from 5 days to 9 days, where we would be meditating, say, 6 to 8 hours per day, and going into that kind of sitting with my guru. Then when I came to India, I saw what's happening, and there was a lot of frustration building up, realizing being in America, you don't understand what's actually happening on the ground. But after coming here is when I realized, oh, okay, things are not hunky-dory. We used to just come, visit parents, and go to SLV, eat idli, and go back. And so only after coming here realized what's happening. And then when my daughter started going to school, I started seeing her textbooks, and then her friends had come over, and like 25 friends, and not even one child could tell me the names of the Pandavas. But every single child knew Elsa, Anna, Harry Potter, and all these things. So it was like a wake-up call for me. So what's going on? And then in 2021, I kind of crept in to realize there is an ecosystem building up. People are talking about Indian knowledge systems and so on. So I started attending conferences and connecting with people and so on. At the same time, I felt, okay, we are approaching our own knowledge systems the way the Westerners approach it, because we have been westernized, and we don't know to what extent we are westernized, to what extent we are colonized. We can't even speak one sentence without the impact of Macaulay. Macaulay is talking through us, So we don't even understand the fundamentals of anything. And but then I realized that somehow my guru had prepared me for so many years, 15 years. Then I realized I had actually approached or learned Indian knowledge systems through direct experience. So even Kathopanishad, you can buy a book from Chinmayananda, you can read the book, but it won't do anything. But so we had a 10-day sadhana shivir called Art of Dying based on Kathopanishad, where we actually meditated. He talks about Nachiketa Agni Dhyan in Kathopanishad, that this is something that every human being has to do. So we actually meditated on it and actually experienced that jyoti, that you can feel it. So then I said, okay, a lot of great work going on, but I want to create a place where people can have direct experience and beyond the theory. And even though we are not the people of the book, we are the people of the multiple libraries. Still, the more value is given to someone who has experience than one who has read all those books. So in our culture, that's the beauty of it. So that's why I wanted to create this place called Upadesha, and I wanted to call Upadesha. Every word has lost its meaning over time, but even Upadesha has a specific meaning in our context. Because you cannot say Upadesha without saying Parampara as well, because both are connected. And Upadesha is the process through which the Parampara is kept alive without distortion. Right? That is the whole idea. And the rishis who have written the Shastras, they were at the stage of what is called Paravani, where they have, through direct perception, they are gaining knowledge. Whereas the modern human beings, we are acquiring knowledge through reading, and we believe that is knowledge. So we wanted to create this space, and in that context I met Hariji and I said, I don't know how this will evolve, but let's do something. Let's start with anything, but let's start bringing people here, and let's have just the sankalpa that people should go back with some direct experiences and an invocation to the divine, and then she will take care of the rest. Anyway, we are not the doers. So I just submitted this prayer, and she has obliged. So we didn't know how many people were going to turn up. So thank you very much. And more people are going to show up, because being an International Day of Yoga, a lot of people have engagements during the day. But one thing I wanted to talk about very quickly, I was discussing with Hariji yesterday, the thought came. Because I was so busy with my daughter's Ranga Pravesha, my mind was fully focused on that. But when I zoned in on this Rāga Yoga festival, I was explaining to some people, they were asking, what is Rāga Yoga? They said, we know about yoga and we know about Raga. But what is Rāga Yoga? We never heard of anything like that. So I said, yeah, that's an interesting question. And then I started thinking, the way even our government and so many institutions, we are celebrating International Day of Yoga through what? Through āsanas, through mainly the physical. Whereas, if you understand what is the meaning of yoga, which is the we think of it as the union of the individual mind with the cosmic mind, the individual consciousness with the cosmic consciousness. So yoga, the asanas are just a preparation. So what we are aiming for is the samadhi state, the entering into the turiya avastha, where we can actually transcend the body and mind, not go deeper into the body and mind. So we'll go through a few things very quickly, then we'll get to the real thing that we're all waiting to hear from the real experts. So, you know, when I'm talking about these things, I don't mean to say that I'm using very specific definitions, but these are just, many times I just get a download, and I just called him yesterday, and then there's a download happened. You know, the download said, what are the two visible, experienceable forms of energy in the world? Anybody? So light and sound, right? Light and sound. This is, we all experience the energy in form of light and sound, and then both have the property of being waves, right? We think of sound waves and light wave. Although light, we have talked about particle and wave as well. And I think, and I'm initiated into Advaita Vidya Sadhana, and what I've experienced is, I think we Indians have mastered the art and science of using sound to create light. From sound to light, right? And we say Nada Brahma and Brahma Nada, right? So even God we have conceived as even the Pāṇḍava in the form of sound. So my guru taught me that, you know, consciousness creates vibrations, vibrations give birth to energy, energy gives birth to physical reality, right? So everything is happening through the medium of, you know, the conversion of sound into physical reality. And it's so beautiful. And even the waves of the ocean, you know, they have you know, you can kind of fall asleep listening to the waves. They have their own rhythm. So the sound waves of the waves, you know, so to say. And like Thich Nhat Hanh used to say, enlightenment for a wave is to realize that it's only water. So again, that it's the enlightenment. So again, light is there. So what is light? And we also, some people like to sign off as love and light. So what exactly do they mean? So light also is not just the light, but also represents wisdom. It represents insight. It also represents freedom. When we say light at the end of the tunnel. So we've been stuck in the dark tunnel for a long time, and finally we see the light. You know, that means there is a way out, right? And if you look at Nataraja, right, and he's pushing the demon, that is us, into the samsara, but at the same time one leg is raised up, and you know, he's got, and that leg is pointing to the hand, you know, the hand as the Abhaya Mudra, do not fear, right? And then there is another hand which is holding what? Light, the lamp. It's a lamp of illumination, right? There is a way out of this whole thing. So I thought about, you know, how these two actually come together. And also, when you are very sad, we say, I was feeling sad and heavy. When you're very happy, we say we're very happy and light, right? So lightness is not just this light, but also if you get enlightened, you also become lighter, because the you know, you have the panchakoshas, right? And the pranamaya kosha is vibrating 1,000 times higher than, faster than, bigger than the annamaya kosha, then the manomaya kosha, jnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha, likewise. And these four subtle bodies are actually carrying the physical body. And when you are feeling very sad, you know, these subtle bodies collapse and the physical body feels heavier, right? And when you're feeling very joyful and you're closer to the Anandamaya, right? So the subtle bodies become more powerful, and for them now carrying this physical body is a play. So to feel very light, right? So And I thought about it, it's we needed a way, right? When she was doing the dance, for example, modern human beings, when we say dance, when we say music, what do we think? We think it's entertainment. But if you look at India, everything, we wanted to create hundreds of different ways to enter samadhi. And in the where there's a union of the finite and the infinite, right? And one day it came to me suddenly that okay, even the modern classical dance is not going the right direction. We call them performers. We say it's a dance performance, and these people, they're living for the applause of the audience. I said, so now what is the difference between the Indian classical dancer and the disco dancer? It's the same. They're all waiting for the classic, but the classical dancer is not even supposed to be even aware that there is an audience. There's only, the mind is focused on the divine. And when the dancer is in the divine state, in the samadhi state, right, is not even aware of the audience, and audience is getting a peek through a window, and through mirror neuron effect, you're also going into samadhi. That is the whole idea. Raise the consciousness. So every act is supposed to raise the consciousness. Everything is sacred. We saw everything is sacred. We don't see anything as Jad and Chetan. Everything is Chetan. Everything is Chaitanya. So that is everything is vibrating. Everything has consciousness. And everything is always communicating. So we are communicating, whether we are speaking or not, we are communicating. And this table is communicating. The tree is communicating. Now they're coming up with a new term called biosemiotics, where they're talking about the communication between human beings who have vocal cords and other beings like trees that don't have vocal cords, but there's communication going on. If you sit with a tree for many days, there's going to be a very beautiful communication that's going to be established. So there is a communication, continuous communication is going on, and even sound we talk about, right? Vaikari, Madhyama, Pashanti, Paravani. So multiple levels. Right? So even without moving my lips, I'm creating sound inside. So there is sound in different forms. There is communication happening throughout the universe. One of the best orchestras in the world you'll find in the forest. How beautifully all those birds and crickets and all of them, without a conductor is invisible, is beautiful orchestra exactly at the same time. Right? So there's a rhythm. Now in Japan, they're talking Shinji Q, go and do forest bathing. And it's not just forest bathing with the trees, you're bathing the sound. There's a sound bath as well. So there's a rhythm to the whole universe itself. And the purpose of our classical dance and our classical music is to help us connect with that rhythm and also align our geometry with the cosmic geometry. So we have the Sri Chakra there, it represents the cosmic geometry. So when we are doing sadhana, especially our Dvaita sadhana, we're actually, we're not becoming the dual upasaka, but we are trying to become the Sri Chakra ourselves. So, becoming one with the Adhishtatri, the Vetamba Parameshwari. So there is a union, right? So this is a way for us to go from being finite to infinite. So when we say, now I learned so much from Rajanji and Hamsiniji last night about music therapy, and as they were explaining, I was thinking maybe I would say it's going back to or reconnecting with the natural rhythm. So when I do leadership retreats, we do a lot of leadership retreats here. I encourage the leaders to listen to X number of ragas and find their own raga, the one raga that resonates with them, and record it and save it with their phone. So throughout the day, when you feel that you have, become off center, listen to the raga, come back. For me, Rag Marwa and Raga Chandrakaunts, beautiful. They always bring me back to that state. Homeostasis is what we are looking for, that state of balance. So music therapy is actually you're going back to the forest, going back into the womb, going back to the beautiful sounds. And so that's why I'm so excited about this festival. It's Hari does all these things so like a play, he keeps talking about so many things. So maybe it's very normal, but when I start thinking about it, this is something unusual because most people have never thought about a Raga Yoga. You know, it's only asana yoga. And I was telling them I was running a wellness center near Los Angeles, Newport Beach, and we used to have competition from radiance yoga, hot yoga, beer yoga, steam yoga, and all kinds of things. A rap yoga, and I had a meditation teacher who suddenly would burst into a rap while teaching yoga. So I think they've lost it, and I think Indians have lost it too. So I think I see this festival as a way to really find your raga and connect back to your own rhythm. I'm really excited to more than anything learn. I wanted this place to be a place of learning. Learning is the most joyful activity for a human being. It's most underrated, but nothing gives as much joy as when someone explains something that you've been trying to figure out your whole life, and it comes together in a few seconds, and you're gonna fall at their feet. My God, where were you all these years? So I'm expecting that we're gonna have many such moments today. So with that, I want to end my talk. Thank you so much.